Scrappy friends. I have a older layout that I did a while ago for the SpiegelMom Scraps design team that I have been meaning to get uploaded to my YouTube channel and just hasn't happened yet. This layout is the layout that I did when I was talking about starting with a fresh kit and just how I start. And so I'll make sure in the comment or the info box below that I have the first part of the video that I made, just kind of explaining and going through and how I thought I was going to start this kit. And I really liked doing that. So, and if you guys like some of my videos where I kind of explain what I'm thinking about what I want to do ahead of time, let me know because I can do more of those. I generally just don't because a lot of times, just to be honest, I don't know what I'm going to do before I start. I just sit at my desk and I wing it. And you will see that because even though I kind of talked a little bit about starting a kit, I still struggled immensely with this layout. I thought I would use that coffee cup paper by Jelly Bean Soup that was in the kit because it has coffee cups, and I'm doing a layout about coffee, about a new coffee maker that we had. And I think part of what was tripping me up is the fact that I used that background paper from Click Kits, and that was an exclusive paper, and it has that watercolor along that diagonal, and then there's a sentiment a sentiment on it, just like a quote or whatever, or a little phrase. And so because it's on a diagonal, I think that is really truly what tripped me up. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll do something in the corner. And of course I'm not getting it right because, you know, you never get anything right. Right, when you're just winging it. And I think that this is, I completely could have taken this whole part out of showing me like struggling, because really basically this is all that I'm doing. I'm struggling. I'm not cutting it right, and then I'm thinking, well, that's too much. It's too much color because that coffee cup paper is super bright. It has a way different colors. It is a cream based and not a white based paper like the other thing. And I'm trying to I'm trying to mirror up at the top what I was doing at the bottom and have a little bit, but I just don't like it because it is really creating like way too many awkward white spaces and open spaces that it just didn't seem to make sense to me. And I didn't know where to go from there. So, and like I said, I just couldn't cut anything straight. It's because usually when you do corners like those, you start off with that and you just cut the corners off and there you go, right? So you just cut the paper on the corner right where you want it, and because that's the first thing that you did. But because I was I was trying to have the top and the bottom be similar and not have it go all the way to the end. I think that's kind of what tripped me up too. And so now I'm like, well, let me mirror kind of what I was doing and put one of those papers. And then the background paper had a little bit of red like writing on it and some other stuff, like some yellow feathers that were in the background of that red. And so I was thinking it reminded me of that one cup that has the red in it. So I used that to back up. And I figured why not, because I didn't want to waste it. So I'm trying to figure out the orientation of my photos. I know I want to use all three. Now I could have completely just decided to only use one because my thought would have gotten across with just one photo. And maybe that's partly what was tripping me up, is that I was determined, bound and determined that I was going to use 3 of those. So as you can see, I took off the little corner things because I just didn't like it. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll put my photos along the one side and have it straight up and down. And while I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to do next, I'm going to add some layers behind these because I did want to layer behind these coffee cups. And I really like the gray and the white and the black and the blue kind of elements of this collection. It makes it really, really simple because I'm using a kit, and the kit was very monochromatic just because that collection was. There was a lot of the same colors, and that's where this paper just really did not go. So I'm adding, like, I'm cutting it so that they have dovetails, and I just don't like that. I'm like, well, maybe I'll just let a little bit show. So I thought, yeah. So I was gonna commit to that, and then I decide, okay, maybe not. Let's not go crazy. Let's add a doily, because when you go to a coffee, like diners and stuff, a lot of times they put doilies on the plates. And so I was thinking, okay, it kind of reminded me of food or something. So I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, well, maybe I can have it go one way, so I'm gonna cut it. And I'm still just playing around with placement. Where do I want these photos? And I mean, it could have worked that way. I think maybe if I had even up and down, it could have worked. It just didn't feel right. And for whatever reason, I was willing that night to just go with, to just figure it out. A lot of times, if I can't figure it out after a little while, I will stop and I will come back. But I played around with this for a while. I think this video clip was over an hour and a half for everything, which is quite a long time. Usually I can get a layout done in about a little bit more than an hour, depending on if I have mixed media stuff. So now I'm thinking, okay, maybe I will have it kind of like this, with something in the middle, like up and down. I don't mind that. And I was thinking, well, maybe I'll put a doily behind each photo. And then I'm thinking about texture. So I'm like, okay, well, what else could I do? And I'm going to find some vellum and stuff in a minute, if I didn't do that a little bit. Because I wanted layers behind each one. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe I can just switch where my thing is. And I really just didn't like it. I think I should have just ditched the photo. It's 2 of the photos, or one of them even, I think would have helped. But no, like I said, I was bound and determined to just get this. I'm like, well, maybe I can just cover up the words. I guess they don't really matter. But I did like the words, the sentiment on it. And I'm like, well, maybe do I want to add some pink in there? So I don't. Seriously, I'm like, well, let's just focus on the layers, because I know what to do with layers, right? So at this point, I'm just gonna work on the layers on the photos, and I'm thinking about texture. And then for some reason, I flip the page like this a little bit, and I just kind of start layering things, and I put down the one photo. So yeah, I used some vellum, and that's from Webster's Pages. I had it in my stash, and I really like that. I decided to use some different textures and different specialty papers. Like here, I'm going to take some of this tissue paper that is almost the exact color. It's a little bit more green than those are, a little bit more blue, but it really works nicely to add another texture to my layers. And when I do layers, I really do like the texture. I like to be able to see different bits and pieces sticking out, maybe not too much, but enough that it kind of creates impact and just so it draws your eye to that photo. But it doesn't, I mean, well, sometimes I can go a little over crazy, but I try not to. And so here, this is where I'm kind of starting to actually find a better design. And I think maybe if I started out scrapbooking knowing more of the design principles, I might have not sat at my desk for probably close to an hour just moving things around and pushing things around. I might have been able to come to this design a lot quicker. But, I think that's part of the process that sometimes I don't mind doing that. Sometimes I don't want to sit there and figure it out, and I will come back to it later. If I'm not feeling it, I will stop and I'll come back the next day or come back later, start something else. In the kit, there was those vellum tags that had the gold words, and I definitely was thinking that I wanted to have that up at the top. And this is where I really start finding a balance for things when I do it like this. And it is a little bit different of a design than I normally do, and I'm okay with that, and I really like that. I like how this layout turned out in the end. I think near the end, I kind of had to tell myself to stop because I kind of went a little bit crazy. But once I did find a comfortable design that I liked and I thought flowed well. But like I was saying, me being a little bit of a newer scrapbooker, and I say that in the terms of I haven't been scrapping like 10 or 12 or 15 years like a lot of the ladies I know. Um, only doing it for a few years, and definitely the style now is not so much focused on design. And so I've kind of learned these principles just by watching other people and just kind of picking up on them that way or using sketches. I know I took a class with Shamel when I very first started, like that first summer I started scrapbooking. And it was the first class I'd ever taken, and it was a collection class. It was her return to the collection, so it wasn't the first one, but it was the second one. And she talked all about design, and it was the first time that I had ever scrapbooked and not used sketches, because before that, all I pretty much used were sketches, or I went and I scrap lift. And I think that is one of the best ways to learn, because you don't really know what you're doing, and you learn by doing it and seeing how it feels to you. Does this design work with you? Does this, and so when you have great sketches that teach you these design principles, you really just you learn them by doing them, and that's how I've done it. And so I think sometimes I doubt my design principle knowledge just because I think I am a newer scrapbooker. I don't have these designs all ingrained in me, in my being, and so I doubt it, and then it does become a little bit harder. But anyway, um so I pulled out of my stash to add to this kit um, the Pretty Please Here Comes the Sun collection by Pretty Little Studios by Marie Pierre. And it has some coffee elements, which are my favorite. And so I added those to this. I knew it was going to be perfect. I do layouts about coffee, but I don't do a ton of layouts because eventually my layouts in my albums, I don't need like 50 million layouts with coffee on them. I mean, I love coffee. Like that's pretty much what I drink. Besides water and iced tea in the summer. But I don't need 50 million layouts, right? But I really did just want to do this layout because I was talking about my new coffee machine that I got that I can make lattes at home. So that is where what my title is going to be. And right now you're just watching me embellish. I'm adding acetate pieces from jelly bean soup. And of course, my video is going to cut off because I lost some of the video. I think I filled up my video and I didn't realize it until after. So you're going to see a few more. And there are tons of sequins and felty hearts and stuff throughout this layout. And it just really, using that stuff with my click kit really just made the kit work so much better. And I absolutely love the way that it turned out. It's way different than a lot of the layouts that I do. And so I think that's why I like it. I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you guys have a great week. Don't forget to look in the info box below for all the links.